Hi, and thank you for joining me for another Facebook Live. It's a special Facebook Live today because it's Halloween. So, this is a super fun holiday, I think. I really love it. I just went and got all of my Halloween candy to stock up and give out to the trick-or-treaters tonight. I'm really excited about that. And of course, I picked up my favorite treat so that I hopefully will have some candy throughout the next few weeks. And I want to share with you some of my tips on how to make Halloween a really fun and enjoyable and delicious holiday for you and your family. So I'm going to get into that in a minute. First, I want to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Alexis Conason. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm in private practice here in New York City. I am also the founder of the Anti-Diet Plan, which is a 6-week mindful eating-based program designed to help you get off the diet, overeating roller coaster and start eating in a way that's joyful and pleasurable and in tune with your body. We have just started our first online version of that program. It started about 2 weeks ago. We have the first cohort of people going through the program, and the next one is going to be in January. So if you're interested, please check out my website. You can sign up for, because I know January is kind of like a whiles away. So if you want to get started before then, you can sign up for my free 30-day intro course, which will give you, some of the basic tools you need to start understanding mindful eating. Of course, it's not nearly as in-depth as the 6-week program, which is really the signature program and designed to give you everything you need to know about mindful eating to dramatically change your relationship with food and your body and really ultimately with yourself. So I hope you'll check that out, and let's get to it. If anyone's here, if you're here watching live, I see some people are, please feel free to write a comment, to say hello, let me know where you're watching from, and you know what I would love to hear? Tell me what your favorite Halloween treat is. That's a fun one. I picked up, I think I cleared out the candy aisle in Duane Reade. I got so much Halloween candy, but I remember how much I loved going to the different doors in Halloween and trick-or-treating and seeing what different kinds of candy each household would have, and it was really fun and exciting. So I like to give out a variety of different candy to the trick-or-treaters, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I get a ton of candy because I really love having leftover candy, and I keep it, and we have it in our house for a long time after Halloween. So that's something that I think is just a fun part of Halloween. I love those little small little candy bars because you get to try a lot of different things. Hi, Laura. Happy Halloween. Twix. Yes, I totally agree. They're delicious, and I got some Twix to give out. They had a special Caramel Lovers variety pack that had Twix and Milky Way and lots of deliciousness in it. So I definitely picked that one up when I just went to get my Halloween candy. And I think that's important, to be able to kind of relax a little bit around Halloween and know that this day is not the one and only day that we're going to be able to eat candy. Because I think when that happens, we are much more likely to feel compelled to overeat candy on Halloween and to, kind of feel like it's our one chance, our only chance to be able to have candy. And it's just not true. We can have candy whenever we want it. The grocery store sells it, even in those little sizes throughout the year. And you can even order, if you like those special Halloween edition candies, they have some special flavors that come out throughout the holidays. And you can even order that stuff online any time of the year. I really got into these candy corn M&Ms, which I think I'm the only person who like them, because whenever I mention to anyone how much I like these M&Ms, they all think they're really gross, but I'm kind of a white chocolate fan, and they're yummy, and I really like them. So what I figured out is that you can order them from Amazon all year round. So I just have them and I keep them around the house. And honestly, I actually got kind of tired of them, so I don't eat them so much anymore. But it's really important to have confidence that we can really have candy whenever we want it, and this isn't the one and only chance to have it. So that's actually one of my tips, to have a joyful and mindful Halloween, is to take some of the judgment off the candy, to stop seeing candy as this really scary, out of control, bad thing that we need to monitor and make rules around. And if you have kids, that's another thing that comes up, is a lot of parents try to make a lot of rules around candy and, say like, you can only have the candy tonight, or we're going to throw it away in the morning. I know there's like a whole thing that came about with Switch Witch. I don't know, are there any parents watching who are familiar with that? I don't know. I don't love the idea of it, because it's kind of saying that like candy is this bad thing, and you have to be rewarded for giving it up, or I think it's just there's so much villainization around candy and sugar in our culture, and it makes people feel totally out of control with food and with candy and with sugar. So it's not working if the point of all of this fear is to deter us from eating candy. Like, it's not working. It makes us feel more out of control with food, and it makes our kids feel kind of out of control around food. It's sad. I often see these disordered eating patterns starting in young children from, if you take the idea that like they can only have candy tonight, they're, probably going to overeat or have more than they want on this one night, because they know it's really scary. The candy's going to go away tomorrow. And like, after you work so hard at all the trick-or-treating, what a scary thought. Like, that's where the fear is, that the candy's going to disappear. And I don't recommend that. I think that so we'll see kids like gorging themselves on the candy. Or the other thing that we see is if parents set rules around the candy, so you can only have 3 pieces tonight. We see kids start to hide candy and eat in secret, and kind of like sneak some of the candy into their room. And a lot of the people that I work with in my office now as adults, can recall these memories of sneaking food because their parents tried to say that certain foods were bad or off limits. And they found themselves like in their bedroom eating candy, hiding the wrappers, hoping that no one was going to find out. And that can set really a lifelong pattern towards the road of binge eating and secretive eating and night eating and all kinds of disordered eating habits, as well as just a lot of judgment around food, a lot of disordered eating, a lot of preoccupation with food, labeling food as good or bad. And I see it in my office every day in and day out. And I can tell you as a parent, that is the last thing that I want for my child. And, so I think that if we can kind of trust that kids will be able to regulate, and when tell them that they can have the candy, and tell our, same goes for us. We're not that different than kids, when we can, tell ourselves and tell our children that they can have the candy, but it's not going anywhere. And this isn't their only opportunity to have candy. They can have as much as they want tonight. They can have as much as they want tomorrow. They can have as much as they want the next day. They usually tend to lose interest. And another tip that I actually I'm taking this from somewhere else that I read today that I thought was a good one, was to offer other things along with the candy, because we don't have to assume that kids are going to want to eat nothing but Halloween candy. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining us. If you want to share what your favorite Halloween candy is, I would love to know. That's our question of the day. But when we, when we have so much judgment around the candy, then it becomes about something else. But right, so the tip was to another tip I read on someone else's blog, but I thought this was really good, was to put out different types of foods. So we don't have to assume that kids are going to want to have candy 24/7. Halloween week or any other time thereafter. So I think if we put out, say the kids can have candy, they can also have fruit, they can have cheese and crackers, they can have pizza, they can have, whatever are a variety of different kinds of foods that your kids like. Those are all options. And same goes for us. We don't have to just have candy. We can, when we know that the candy is always available to us, relax a little bit around the candy, and we can start to sense, like, maybe I want some candy, but like I also want something else. I also want a piece of fruit, or I want a piece of fruit now and maybe I want some candy later, or like maybe I don't even want the candy today because I know it's going to be there tomorrow, so I can always have it tomorrow. And that's, why I like to really stock up my house with candy, to reassure me and my family that we can have these treats whenever we want them. And they don't have to be treats, they don't have to have this special the special designation as this other food. It's just food. It's just an option. So that's one of the tips. Another thing that I want to mention for those of you who are going to be going out and either going to like some kind of Halloween party tonight or trick-or-treating with the kids or anything like that. And again, this holds for adults as well as for kids, if there's any other parents out there watching, is to eat throughout the day. We can get into this deprivation mindset where we think that because we want to have candy this evening, that we have to kind of like save up our calories or restrict our eating throughout the day to compensate for what we're going to eat later. And that really is a not great way of thinking, and it's certainly a not great way of treating our body. So when we, and there's a few reasons why this is problematic. One of the reasons that this idea of restriction and compensation is problematic is that when our body's hungry, it needs to be fed. And even if that means eating something right before you go out trick-or-treating, it's important for our body to trust that when it calls to us, when it signals, when it asks for something, we are going to be there to honor those signals, because that's what strengthens those signals. When we don't listen to what our body's saying, those signals get quiet, it gets hard to understand, hard to read, and we get into the habit of just ignoring what our body needs, and we fall into patterns of deprivation. Now, of course, when we're very hungry, we're also more likely to eat in ways that feel out of control. So if we go, haven't eaten since like breakfast or lunchtime, and we're going to go have our trick-or-treating candy, we are much more likely to eat a lot of it and feel really out of control, maybe even eat so much that we don't feel well afterwards, because our body needs that energy. Our body is actually like desperately trying to get fed, and it's going to seek out food in whatever the most readily available form is, and candy is a super readily available form. It's just basically like a hit of straight sugar, which our body needs when it's feeling at that level of hunger. But I know we don't want to feel out of control around food, because that feels crappy for people who have felt that out of control with food. You probably know that experience, and we tend to beat ourselves up afterwards and be really hard on ourselves, and just leads to a really negative pattern. So I think if we can make sure that we're honoring our body and listening to our body by feeding ourselves regularly, eating dinner before you go out trick-or-treating, having different food options available, that's going to help us feel more in control around food. And also it's going to help, and that combined with the security of knowing that this is not the only night that you can have candy, that you can have candy whenever you want it, can help us kind of relax a little bit around the food and just have what we want. And that brings us to my final mindful eating tip, which is enjoy. This is such a fun holiday, or it can be. Can also be a challenging holiday, especially if you have kids who are ramped up on a lot of candy. But I hear so many people making rules and regulations around candy and food, and so much fear, right? I wrote a newsletter this week, and I started by saying, the only thing we should be afraid of on Halloween is the scary movies and the costumes. We don't want to spend our day being scared of food and the candy. That's the fun part. That's the delicious part. So when we can kind of remove some of the fear around the food, we can start to actually enjoy what we're eating. So tonight, if you're going to be around a lot of candy, I'd really encourage you, or a lot of different kinds of foods, I really encourage you to stay in tune with your body, check in with what you want, and eat the candy that you enjoy. Pick your favorites, pick which ones you really like. I remember I hear so often people saying, I went into the store and I bought the candy that I don't like. I bought the candy, for people who don't like peanuts, I bought the candy with the peanuts, or I bought the candy with the caramel and I really don't like caramel, as a way to try to control it. I'm like, what? That's just, that makes me sad. That just, that we can't trust ourselves, that we have to make these rules and regulations and deprive ourselves and, try to sacrifice getting something that we would enjoy, and instead get something that we don't like because we're so afraid of eating it. It's really not that scary. And I think that what you'll find is that when you can really kind of be present, pay attention to what you want, we can trust ourselves, we can trust our bodies. And when we can trust our bodies, we can allow ourselves to enjoy candy, enjoy Halloween. I would really encourage you, if anyone wants to try mindful eating, this is a great opportunity with the candy to really tune in and be present with yourself, to look at all the different options available, to decide what you want most, what seems most appealing, and then to really be present with it, to smell the candy, look at it with your eyes, touch it, and taste it, most importantly, and stay in tune with how your body feels afterwards, and when you feel satisfied, and when you want more, and when you don't want more, and when fear comes up that you can't have more, so you have to have more now, even though maybe you don't really want more, and trying to reassure yourself that you can have more, you can always have more. And I hope that that will help you lead to a mindful and joyful and really pleasurable and fun Halloween. So I am excited to break into my stash of candy. I might have a piece actually right now before the trick-or-treaters even start coming. And I hope everyone else will do the same. I hope you will enjoy your candy. I hope you will feel at peace today and not feel afraid of the food and not feel anxious or at war with yourself. Trust yourself, trust your body, and be present and enjoy. So I'm going to wrap it up from there. I hope everyone has a really happy and delicious Halloween, and I will be back next week. And if you're interested in more mindful eating tips, you can check out my free 30-day, the Anti-Diet Plan introductory course. It's an email series of about 4 emails that you'll get once a week with different exercises and things for you to do to start developing a mindful eating practice. And then, of course, if you are interested in diving deeper, which I hope everyone will be, please check out my 6-week mindful eating course. The program, the Anti-Diet Plan, the program is closed for right now because we currently have our first online group in progress, but it will open up again for new students to take that course in January. You can go to the site and sign up for the waiting list if you want, or you can just sign up for the free 30-day plan and check it out and see what you think. So thank you all for watching and joining me today. Please feel free to be in touch if you have any questions, if there's any topics that you want me to talk about here on Facebook Live. I would love to hear from you. You can reach me by email, info@drconneson.com. You can reach me on social media. I'm on Instagram at the Anti-Diet Plan, Twitter at Conneson Psy.D, and Facebook right here. I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care.